We'll start. Hello and welcome to the Westborough Advisory Finance Committee meeting of March 3rd, 2022, meeting number 27 of fiscal 22. I will call this meeting to order and read the following statement. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, no in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted for entirely remote meetings, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access process in real time via technological means on Westborough TV, Verizon Channel 28, or Charter 192, or on www.youtube.com/Westborough TV. However, in the event we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we'll post on the Town of Westborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. And I gotta let Hank in. So we'll just wait a second for Hank to get in. And Mr. Beretti should be joining us in a bit. And he is out of town, joining us remotely. So I will be acting chair today. And Hank has joined us. Very good. Hopefully I'll notice anybody else who shows up in the waiting room.
If you make a co-host, you can put them in charge of watching the participant list.
Okay, but that'd be as complicated as watching the co-host list for me right now. So.
Okay.
Okay, so the first action is to review, approve past minutes. The first being meeting number 26 of February 28th, 2022. Somebody like to make a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Bradley, second.
Ouch and Bradley. Okay. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, roll call vote starting with that.
Yes.
And there's no Melanie yet, so.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan abstain.
Hegel, I attended half and I viewed the other half, so I'll vote yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Z, Zaffer.
Siddiqui, yes.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 601. Okay, there's one other minute, just a note. On our minutes of February 9th, our joint meeting with the retreat with the school committee, they voted to accept the meeting minutes with an amendment. And I just wanted consensus. It was okay for us to accept the same amendment. The amendment is I had the date as 2021 instead of 2022. So it read February 9th, 2021. And so I'm going to assume that would be by consensus, and we don't have to revote acceptance of that for
reconciliation committee
for that typo. But that's why they get the big bucks over there at the school committee, because they noticed that. Very good.
Those school teachers types can know how to read and write.
So I guess we did okay. All right, so our next order of business is our ATM. I had circulated some information on making motions. Hopefully you have some of that. I'm going to share my screen, actually, but don't screw things up too badly. And we can go through the articles one by one. I don't know whether I'll still see the waiting room, but we'll see. Okay, so the concept, as Hank proposed the other day, is we're going to go through each one. If there's a reason you feel like we shouldn't vote on it today, for any reason, you want more information, just think it's not appropriate, we have 2 more days to vote, so we'll just put that off if anyone has such an objection, and if not, we'll make a motion, second, and then discuss. the first one. I don't know whether we usually wait for the election to be over. I'll see if Hank or anybody has an opinion on that.
We actually don't vote on that. The Finance
Okay.
Committee doesn't make a recommendation on the election. So you can go straight to Article 2.
So we go straight to Article 2, the town reports. I posted a sample motion. Does anybody feel that we can't vote on this now? Okay, then.
You're going through all of them before you want motions, right?
No, well, we could, but I think that's sort of redundant. So my theory is we just, Article 2, we either
So then do you
do
want
a
a
motion
motion?
or move on.
Do you want to motion the town so vote?
Yes.
I move that we recommend the town so vote.
Okay. Is there
Bradley, second.
Second. Okay, so Blumberg and Bradley on the second for Article 2. Is there any discussion? Kind of thinking there's probably not much. So if not, Mr. Hugel and I will take votes. So let's start.
Blumberg, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes. Oh,
Yeah. Leslie, yes.
Eagle, yes. Sorry. Oh,
Okay. Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7-0. Okay, so next up, Article 3, which I think anybody object to going through Article 3 right now? I don't hear any, so would someone like to make a motion for Article 3?
I make a motion that the town so votes.
No, it has money.
Yeah, with the financial ones, we'd like to read the amount and the source.
Purpose.
I will stay quiet and be the rookie.
Sorry.
No.
I recommend the AFC. I move the AFC recommend the town meeting approve Article number 3 with $555.78 free cash for the purpose of paying outstanding balance of the town clerk department and transfer from country club retained earnings the sum of I can't read the number, $385 for the purpose of paying the outstanding balance of the recreation department for fiscal 2021.
Second.
Second, Beth.
Yeah.
Any discussion? Okay, not hearing any discussion. Let's go to a vote.
Blumberg, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
I got 7-0. Okay, I think we're too early on the operating budget, mainly because I don't have those documents and I'm not sure. I assume they're finalized, but we usually get a nice sheet to go through all those. So my advice is we move on to Article 5. No objections. Article 5A, reserve funds.
I think we need a discussion about the amounts.
For 2023,
Yeah, do we know what the snow and ice budget is for this year?
we're talking about 2023.
But yeah, there's another article for refreshing and that we would put off, but this is
No,
just
but
next year.
my concern is
Oh.
we're setting the amount of the reserve fund for 2023, and if we're
Right.
way off this year, I want to look at the amount correctly for next year.
The ice and snow budget for 2023 is the same as it was for 2022.
No,
Right, so you're saying you would rather wait and find out about the other information and vote this particular section later?
yeah. I mean, I feel like I don't know how much we're going to have to put towards snow and ice yet this year. That information has not crossed my desk. So, because we know that we need part of this money for snow and ice.
No, this is for 2023, not 2022.
I understand that, Hank, but this year's snow and ice impacts how much I want to set aside for next year's.
Okay, if you want to wait, we can wait.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
the only issue I advise you on is we're going to finalize that information probably right before town meeting and not between now and then. My understanding is Hank and Mike are going to get that information on around the 15th. So if we want to, we can do what you like, but we may want to at least do the country
Well, I
club.
want to have a discussion about this. I don't care whether
Okay.
we vote on it, but I want to have a discussion about the amounts.
Okay, so let's move on for the moment and we can revisit that. Okay, Article, I think we're 5B.
Yeah. I recommend that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $4,000 for the purpose of restocking Sandra Pond.
Is there a second?
Bradley, second.
Okay, any discussion on this one?
I do have a quick question, and
Sure.
because this is an event, this is an amount that comes up at the same amount every time from the same group every year. Why don't we just ask them to make this part of their budget?
I think because we took it out of the budget a few years ago.
It's
One of
been
those low-
several years because ever
Right.
since I've been voting, this has been its own standalone.
So what happened is this was considered low-hanging fruit when we had to cut the budget. So we can tell Christy we think it should go back in the budget, but that's why it got pulled out.
Okay.
That's a useful discussion for 2024.
Right, it's set for this year.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. As the liaison to the Recreation Department, I just wanted to know, while we're talking about it, why it was happening. But you're absolutely right, Hank. You're absolutely right. I don't mean to intend to raise an issue about it this year, but thank you.
yeah. I think the concern's always like, now, why is your budget going up by $4,000 kind of thing?
Well, that will
Anyway.
happen, but at least
Yeah.
they have a good reason.
It does make sense at some point if it's voted every year. In any case, Beth,
Blumberg, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Bolin, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Yes.
Okay, it's also 7-0. Oh, hold on. Okay, cool. Okay, sorry. Next up, Mike wants to get admitted, so we have another voter. Okay, we are up to 5C, request and approve a cable TV budget. Does anyone object to moving this now?
I move that we recommend that the town vote to appropriate and transfer from the cable TV enterprise fund the sum of $250,000 for the purpose of funding the fiscal year 2023 cable TV budget.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Dolan, second. Okay. Any discussion on this one? Mike, have you joined us?
I am in. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can. Okay. So we're up to
What are you up to?
5C, cable
Okay.
TV budget, and we have a motion.
Okay.
So to make life easy for me, if you could vote after Siddiqui, because that's the way my voting list has, because you usually vote last, that would be good.
Happy to do that.
Okay,
Blumberg,
Beth.
yes.
Bradley, yes.
Bolin, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Yes.
Already, yes.
Okay, so that's 8-0. We move on to the July 4th block party. Is there any reason we can't vote on this tonight? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
I move that we recommend the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $2,500 for the purpose of the annual 4th of July celebration.
Is there a second?
Bradley, second.
Any further discussion? Okay, let's take a vote.
Lumberg, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Stolen, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Moretti, yes.
That's an 8-0. Okay, next is 5E, healthcare reimbursement account. Any reason we can't do this? I don't hear one. I'll take a motion.
I move to recommend the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $24,500. No, $24,529 for the purpose of this article.
Okay, second.
Moretti, second.
That's a rare opportunity for you.
It is. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote.
Lumberg, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Stolen, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Moretti, yes.
That's 8-0. Okay, that brings us to Article 6, which I believe we want to put off till later.
I'm okay with it. I mean, my objection, this is replenished unless somebody else wants.
Yeah, Beth, we want to adjust the amount based on some forecasts of what the need may be.
Okay.
And we'll do that on town meeting floor.
Okay.
So on the 15th, we'll know more, and then we can decide whether it's needed, it's not needed, it's more, it's needed, or whatever. But that's probably the best time, I would think.
Okay.
Okay. Article 7, Hazardous Waste Day. Is anybody not ready to vote?
Rookie question, and
Yeah.
Paul encouraged me to start asking the rookie questions without being embarrassed.
Okay.
If we don't have a hazardous waste day, how do folks dispose of the hazardous waste? You gotta,
That is a good question. Theoretically, some people are probably dumping down the drain like they should not be. Some people are storing them in their houses for now 3 years.
There are private places. I know Shelby Marshall mentioned that you can go to Sutton, I think, and pay if you have a car and the wherewithal to do so.
Some people believe that the hazardous waste disposal ought to be a pay to throw. I.e., if you want to throw away your hazardous waste, you have to pay for that privilege, as opposed to making it a raise and appropriates that all the taxpayers can hit. Because many taxpayers don't have any hazardous waste to get rid of.
They're not doing what they should be. Probably.
That's not accurate. I live in a condo. I don't have any hazardous waste.
yeah, I don't have any hazardous waste either. So I respect that, Hank, but
Yes, you do, Tom. You do have hazardous waste.
Now you do.
dirty diapers I do now. but
They don't take those
after
in
hours,
hazardous
after
waste
hours,
day.
after hours.
So yes, my understanding of this is that this event collects a small portion of the hazardous waste that exists, and that it does get things safely put away, but it is certainly not the entire amount that the town probably has in their garages, because a lot of people can't make the day or just don't.
As long as we're discussing, I'd like to suggest next year that we, if it passes, let's say, that we get an accounting of what materials they brought, what types of waste they brought in. Because I'd be interested if I had this information, if X% of it is, let's say, used oil, that can go, there is a place for that. You can bring it back to where you buy it. And
You
I don't
can
know what
also
else.
bring it to the DPW, Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, right on.
They'll take oil at
Okay.
the
All right. So that's
DPW.
not one, but if there's other things, I don't know if there's others that I'd be interested. So that's next year. But
Other items that I know about would include paint,
Yep.
nail polish,
yeah,
and partial cleaners.
I've brought stuff there, but
it's possible to dry the paint out that it's not
Right.
hazardous anymore.
Yeah, especially the latex paint can just be dried and thrown out.
I mean, I've dried out hundreds of gallons of latex paint
Right.
without going through hazardous waste procedures.
Maybe
I'm
we
going to
could-
presume things like brake fluid, other cleaners, and weird solutions, and maybe even pesticides. I don't know if they take those or not.
Yep.
There's that kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know
do.
if we-
I do like
Yeah.
Paul's case is a good one, though. I mean, it
Yeah,
makes
no,
sense to know what we're getting for this and what could be deferred, especially if this is chosen to be something like an every other year thing. It makes sense that the town should be able to recommend where people can take certain categories of stuff.
So yeah, I think this would be an article. Next year if they do have it this year, we want to get somebody in and exactly what you said was how many people used it. What did they
I
collect?
think they have that information, and if I step away for a minute, I may be able to get it. Do you want?
Okay. Well, do we want to just revisit this one on like the next meeting, and you can find that information?
If people are going to bring more data, why don't we revisit it when they bring more
Yeah.
data?
Yep. We have more days, so we can do this Monday.
Okay.
So let's move on to the Bowman Bridge replacement. Does anybody have a reason we can't vote on this? Does anyone like to make a motion?
I move the AFC recommended the town to transfer from free cash the sum of $14,000 for the purpose as expressed in this in Article 8.
Bradley, second.
Please second. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, let's take a vote. Beth?
Blumberg, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Moretti, yes.
Okay, that is 8-0. Okay, it's on to the capital. I shouldn't say that. It might cause pain and anguish. It's on to the capital improvement plan. The first one, A, is a vehicle replacement. Anybody want to make a motion?
I recommend the AFC. I move that the AFC recommends that the town vote to transfer from overlay surplus the sum of $42,000 for the purpose of purchasing a vehicle for the building department.
Is there a
Dig,
second?
Bradley, second.
Is this
I think
vehicle? I feel
think I
like
heard.
I missed. I just have one question. Is this vehicle going to be part of the energy? I mean, like, will it be electric or on the way to or hybrid?
This is the building department, and I believe it was going to be a hybrid from our off-site meeting. And they couldn't inherit a police car at this point because there wasn't one. And
Right, because usually they do inherit.
The
The
article,
article-
There's nothing in the article requiring.
the
article-
article is vague, so it could be or couldn't be.
the
That's what I
article
was
as written does not require purchase
Right.
of an electric drive vehicle.
I don't think it's electric. It might have been hybrid.
It is a policy of the town to preferentially buy those kind of vehicles.
May have been talk about this. Was this one that there was talk about there wouldn't be anything available unless they went with pure gas? I'm not sure, but
Did the capital review committee approve this expenditure?
Yes.
It did, yes.
So we ought to vote for it.
Okay. Andrew, is that your audio that we just joined?
Melanie.
Oh, it's Melanie. Oh, okay. I just want to make sure. 'Cause
Sorry, I
someone just joined.
No, I couldn't get on the regular link. I'm late, but I couldn't get on the other link.
Okay, great to have you. So we're discussing Article 9A, vehicle replacement for the building department. That's where we're at. And we have a motion and we're discussing it. Okay.
You know, without making this a precedent, I'm comfortable voting in favor if the capital committee went ahead and recommended this. I just don't want it to be a precedent for the other articles that they looked at.
Which precedent don't you want to have happen?
I don't want, if we vote yes because the capital improvement committee or the
Said so.
CapEx committee recommended it, that we automatically agree with everything they've done.
I confirm. I'm very concerned about that fact that we've set a goal of, increasing our fuel efficient vehicles, and we're not specifying that this is some level of fuel efficient vehicle.
So who's the liaison to the building department? We can defer action on the article and ask them to check in with the building department and understand whether or not, and if not, why they're not purchasing a electric vehicle.
Okay, I think that's a good suggestion.
Okay.
Who's the liaison to the building department?
It might be me. I've never had to do anything with it, so it's not at top of my mind. Sorry, but I can try to check that.
It is you, Paul.
Okay, and but the article's not going to change, so they're not going to have to do whatever.
It can be changed by a motion on a town meeting floor.
Sure.
The motion on the town meeting floor can include the restriction that the vehicle be either electric or hybrid or something like that.
Yeah, for what it's worth, my recollection was that it was, because I remember having a discussion, and it's good for you to go check, but I did ask because they didn't drive very far per day, so I was a little skeptical about the difference between having a hybrid and another vehicle, because they're not going enough miles that it might ever matter. I know they wanted an off-road vehicle because they do go off-road to inspect things. And I thought it therefore was going to be a hybrid of some sort, like one of the Fords. But let's put that off and revisit it instead when we can, or Monday or next Thursday. So Article 4B is a four-wheel drive SUV replacement for the fire department.
Yeah.
Is there a reason not to vote, or I'll take a motion?
I move that the AFC recommends town meeting approve article number 4B, excuse me, was it 9B, excuse me, for $75,000 for the purposes, from the overlay surplus for the purposes of purchase of a four-wheeled SUV replacement for the fire department.
The second?
Second.
Crouch second. Any further discussion?
Yes, please. There's no indication in this article either whether or not it's going to be a hybrid vehicle. Is there some, would there be some reason for it to be a usual fossil fuel vehicle?
I believe the size of it was that I don't know that they could fit into the smaller. So it was an Expedition, which is the larger size.
Okay.
But if you want someone to look into that, we could.
I think there's serious issues about availability of electric vehicles. Fully electric vehicles, they have to be put aside to charge for long periods of time. And that gives you, in something like a fire department, where you have unpredictable needs, you really have a hard time using vehicles that are not available 24/7, 365.
Yeah, no, Hank, I agree with you. I was saying hybrid.
Yeah, again, we ought to do is go back and revisit the policy that's been established and see whether this is in line with that policy. The town meeting, I think, we've been through this before. There's a policy in place. We ought to verify that it's in line with the policy.
My understanding was when we addressed this was that it was bigger than that, but if if
I can text them.
Melanie wants to talk to the fire chief, we can revisit this on Monday.
I can do that.
Okay, so let's wait and see if there's other questions for the end of the evening, I guess. Okay, all right, let's go to 3C, the big B.
I'm willing to
Sorry,
make a motion
9C.
on this one. Because I don't think fire engines are ever going to be electric. I think they're exempt from the town
They
recommendation.
don't have a choice. Electric.
So I move that we recommend the town vote to transfer from overlay surplus the sum of $790,000 for the purpose of purchasing and equipping an engine for the fire department.
Second.
And it was Ford second. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to vote. Beth?
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Already, yes.
All right, that's our first 9-0. Okay, next comes up the server room cooling replacement from IT. Is there any reason we can't discuss this tonight? Vote, sorry.
I'm willing to make a motion.
Okay,
I move to recommend the town vote to transfer from overlay surplus the sum of $33,000 for the purpose of purchasing server room cooling equipment.
okay. Is there a second?
Dolan, second.
Any discussion?
I still have some misgivings that the town doesn't have like a great policy in terms of moving a lot more of this stuff to the cloud. And so I don't know how long this is going to be valid for, but it's something they do need right now.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, Beth, why don't you start us off?
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Already, yes.
I have 9-0. Okay, police cruiser time. I get to the right window here. Purchase of 3 police cruisers from the police department. Is there any reason we can't vote that tonight? Okay.
I move the town vote to transfer, I move that we recommend the town vote to transfer from overlay surplus the sum of $185,000 for the purpose of purchasing 3 cruisers and associated equipment.
Is there a second?
Bradley, second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I'll just note that this one does say in the informal
Comment.
note that when possible, hybrid vehicles will be purchased.
Which is why I was willing to make the motion. Sorry. Blumberg,
Not binding, but that's their sentiment.
yeah. I mean, at least there's intent to try and follow within the rules that we set for ourselves.
Right.
I just got a message back. The fire department is exempt because it's a response vehicle to Hank's point earlier.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, so
That 4-wheel drive is exempt, but is there intention not to buy one?
I think it's not, their intent is
Okay.
not, only because
Yeah.
they're exempt. So We could
So-
go back to 9B
Well,
if you
thought
want to later.
Walter, the town adopted a policy on this subject. We ought to find out what the policy is and make sure we're following it rather than having these discussions. There is a policy. That's what we ought to be being guided by.
Okay.
But the policy clearly says that because it's a response vehicle, it's exempt.
Yeah,
Correct,
exactly.
correct, which means we're following the policy. Let's get on with business. We're following the policy. The purpose is to follow the policy, not to make new policy in town meeting.
And that'll be true of some of the larger vehicles we're voting on later on here. They're exempt because they're not, they're not available.
Right. DPW
Right.
was exempt for a lot of things.
Right.
There's a lot of vehicles that are not available as hybrid or all electric.
Right.
That's why we have a policy.
Right. So we'll be able to vote on those.
All right. So
Okay, so let's get
Have a
back to
motion.
police cruisers, which we can vote.
I have a quick question about the police cruisers. None of these were related to the ones that were destroyed in,
no, I already asked
accident?
that. Those were insurance.
okay, sorry.
Those were covered by insurance.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
That
yeah. We
should be-
lost a lot to,
I don't know.
Yeah, so we'll end up with
Additionally, I don't think. Go ahead.
we'll end up with 6 new cruisers because we destroyed 3.
no, we didn't destroy them. They were destroyed.
Okay.
But that throws the timing off.
And they'll all be black.
Somewhere down the road, there'll be a lot to replace at the same time. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, let's vote.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Moretti, yes.
Okay, that's 9-0 for Article 9E. And Article 9F, municipal parking lot.
Do you
paving.
want, excuse me, Walter?
Yeah.
Do you want to go back to the fire department vehicle, 7 or 9B?
9B.
I would be very happy to do that.
Okay, Beth had the objection, so if she doesn't have the objection, I can say that we had a motion. Okay.
Yeah.
So we had a motion by Bradley and seconded by Rouch. We can go back there. Those people are still willing to say they're moving. I don't think we have to remove it.
Andrew
So any
Bradley
dis-
removing.
Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll take a vote.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Moretti, yes.
Okay, that's 9-0 for Article 9B of the four-wheel drive. Okay, so now we go down to server room, police cruisers, municipal parking lot, split on 2 pages, unfortunately. Is there any discussion on this ahead of a motion?
Quick reminder for me, the goal of this is to be efficient with the cost, just where we've got the abutting properties doing the same thing. But if we don't do it this year, is it urgent, potholes and stuff? I guess the question for me is, can we postpone it a little bit without serious safety ramifications?
Don't know.
So when we heard about this, I don't know if we should wait for a conversation for this. Do we want to move and then have feedback, or
We had a conversation that
Yep.
if we wait, then we won't only we only do part of the parking lot. We're sharing the cost with other abutters. If we decide not to share the cost, the parking lot won't get paved. This funding is not coming out of the tax. It's not coming out of the tax levy. It's coming out of the overlay surplus. So it's essentially using reserves to pay for this one-time expense. And if you wait, it's going to cost you. going to cost you more money in the future because you won't have the abutters on board to do their part.
Right, so there's synergy
Yeah, there are-
because you're getting the whole job done at one time, right?
And there are abutters who are interested in moving ahead in this quickly. So the idea was to be a good partner in the town for the shared space.
Roger that. Thanks for answering my questions.
If it is delayed, this money would be there still too for next year.
Well, it may not be. It may be used for something else. It's a reserve. We're transferring money from a reserve. So overlay surplus is another form of reserve.
But also, we don't know that the abutters will kick in their share. And
Yes, we do.
In the future?
Okay.
We're holding the DPW and the town manager accountable. We're not giving them enough money to pave the whole parking lot. If the abutters don't kick in their piece, the money won't be spent.
We're authorizing this. Why is this any different than any other article that sometimes is delayed? Just because it's a reserve, the money is still in the reserve.
But the reserve may be used for something else.
It's still authorized. It's still authorized.
No.
No, I mean, if we vote this article down, the money will not be authorized. If we vote in favor of it, then it will be authorized. If it doesn't happen, it will stay in the overlay surplus.
Right. That's what I said. It'll be there for future.
Okay, so it sounds like we're comfortable in voting now, whether or not you're in favor. That's not the question. The question is whether you're comfortable in voting. So if there are any more discussion we'll go to a vote.
I don't think we've had a motion yet.
Oh, sorry. I'll take a motion.
I vote that the AFC recommend the town vote to transfer from overlay surplus the sum of $65,000 to fund their portion of the repaving in the municipal parking lot.
Okay,
Bradley, second.
Okay, Hank, motion, Bradley, second. Any further discussion? If not, Beth?
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, no.
Okay.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Moretti, yes.
Okay, so I have 8-1.
And Tom, as the newbie, you now have the right to make a comment about what in the report to explain why you opposed it.
Should I?
Well, I
discuss
don't know
it
that we
now?
have to do that with every single dissent.
No,
I think when we have a
That's
larger
correct.
dissent,
no, I mean, when somebody dissents, they have,
I appreciate that opportunity to voice it. Honestly, 8-1, it's not a huge deal for me.
okay.
On to the next one.
Okay, for the minutes, would you like to state any reason for objection or you
I
don't
just
have
think
to
if we're trying to
postpone?
if we're trying to pinch pennies, this might be one we could postpone on.
Okay. Fine. Next is G. Multi-purpose mower plower replacement. Mower plow replacement, sorry. Any reason we can't vote this?
I'll make a motion.
I'll take a motion then.
I move that the AFC recommend the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $200,000 for the purpose of purchasing and equipping a multi-purpose mower plow.
I said the same thing, mower plower. That's their second.
Yeah.
Second,
Moretti,
Bradley,
second. Okay.
Yeah, I got Hank on the second first.
that's fine.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, I'll take a vote.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Moretti, yes.
Okay, that one is 9-0. We now have a water sewer truck replacement from the DPW. No reason to not vote, then I'll take a motion.
I move that the town vote to transfer from sewer retained earnings the sum of $112,500 and transfer from water retained earnings the sum of $112,500 for the purpose of purchasing and equipping a water sewer vehicle.
Okay, is there a second?
Siddiqui
Bradley,
second.
second.
It's Siddiqui, okay. Any further discussion?
Blumberg, yes.
No.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Moretti, yes.
Okay, that is 9-0 in favor. Next is street sweeper replacement, DPW. Hearing no objection, I'll take a motion.
I'm move that we recommend the town vote to transfer from overlay surplus the sum of $220,500. Transfer from sewer retained earnings the sum of $12,250. Transfer from water retained earnings the sum of $12,250 for the purpose of purchasing and equipping a street sweeper.
Is there a second?
Dolan, second.
Moretti, second.
Okay, I have a second. Any further discussion? Okay, Beth,
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Moretti, yes.
9-0 in favor. Next, move to a six-wheel dump truck, DPW.
I move to recommend the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $100,000 and transfer from sewer retained earnings the sum of $90,000 and transfer from water retained earnings the sum of $90,000 for the purpose of purchasing and equipping a six-wheel dump truck.
Siddiqui
Bradley,
second.
second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Not, Beth?
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Moretti, yes.
That is also 9-0 in favor. We move on to the rec department and the greens mower replacement. I'll take a motion if there's no
I move to
objection.
recommend the town vote to transfer from country club retained earnings the sum of $49,000 for the purpose of purchasing a greens mower.
Second,
Dolan,
Roush,
second.
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 I think I heard Hank first. Okay. Say Roush. Any further discussion? All right, let's vote.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Moretti, yes.
9-0 in favor. Up to 9L, which is
Armstrong freezer.
the Armstrong freezer from the school department.
I move to
Any
recommend,
reason not to vote this? So I'll take a motion.
I move to recommend the town vote to transfer from overlay surplus the sum of $40,000 for the purpose of replacing a freezer.
Second,
Second.
Bradley, second.
okay, any further discussion? Okay, let's vote on 9L. Beth,
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, no.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Moretti, yes.
Okay, I have 8-1. Any particular reason you want to note in the minutes, Melanie?
No, thanks.
Okay, all right, I'm on to my page 2. Article 9M, which is the Armstrong Playground Replacement.
I move to vote that the town transfer from free cash the sum of $350,000 for the purpose of replacing the playground at Armstrong Elementary School.
Okay, and do I have a second?
Bradley, second.
Any further discussion?
Yes. I'd like to defer this until Monday, the 7th, the 10th,
Okay,
or a later date, please.
sure.
I want to get some more information. I listened to the superintendent when she made her presentation, and I'm just not comfortable with the way this has been presented. I'd like to get some more information from the superintendent.
Mike, as you're doing that, my wife had a question as to the materials for, I know wood chips are a common one, but there's also some rubber as an alternative. And she was concerned that the rubber might have some cancerous off-gassing. So not looking to prod too far if there hasn't been any research on that, but just sort of a side note as far as what materials they're considering for the floor of the playground, for lack of a better word.
So it is the rubber. I've been with the school on this for part. This was originally part of building work that they've been doing. So it's the rubber, and it's not, to the best of my knowledge, we shop numerous different places, and the type of rubber that we're using is a little more expensive, and it's the kind that is safe for the kids. So I can't speak to any more recent testing or what have you, but I do know that the school has been very conscious as to the material that's used and the safety of the kids involved.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, so I will, yeah, if you have objections, you can let us know before we motion. That will just save time.
Yeah, I'll withdraw the motion for now.
Sure.
But obviously, Mike, does Amber already know about your request for more information?
No, she does not. But I can tell you the school department, look, they're bringing this one back. They did this 3 years ago. They're bringing it back. I want some more information on it. I'm not comfortable with the way it was presented. There were significant objections the last time the last time this was brought back. There was also an attempt to use funds from another project. This is a free cash request, but there's something about it that's got me uncomfortable. Look, I'd like it deferred. However, if the majority of the committee wants to vote on it, I'm okay with that.
No, I mean, from my perspective, if someone wants it, we're only on Thursday here. We're voting again Monday, so it's not a big deal, and we even can vote again later. So there's plenty to vote on here. There's 30-something articles. So, if we can get half of them done tonight, that's sort of the goal, maybe more. But
okay.
If any reason not to, it's fine to wait. If this was the night before we had to print the warrant, I might give you a hard time. But you would be giving yourself a hard time because you're.
I would be. I would be.
Okay. So that brings us to the high school rooftop chiller. So I'll ask if anybody wants to defer this or they want to vote it tonight.
What's the word on ARPA for this one?
We won't know
Yeah.
before town meeting.
Yeah, just to kind of fill you guys in. The finance team meeting that was supposed to happen on Tuesday night was canceled. And we are not going to look at this stuff again until probably after the town meeting with the ARPA funds, unless something occurs between now and the town meeting.
Wait, I'm confused. What did you say? What was canceled?
The finance team meeting, the town manager's
Oh.
finance. Right. And my best information as of Tuesday, there was no further information from our consultants about what might or might not qualify for ARPA funding based on the requests that were made.
Yeah, at this point in time, if we don't vote this at town meeting, if we wait until the ARPA situation is resolved, this work will not get done this summer.
Yep. Yeah,
And
Hank,
the agreement is that if the ARPA funding is available, it will be used and we will not make a borrow. But the intent is that for this to be a borrow.
yeah. I think we ought to, I know that Christie and Leah, are anxious to get some information. I know they're in touch with the consultants regularly, and I think they would like some kind of resolution before town meeting. And, we could take this up again next Thursday, the 10th. That gives us a few more days to see if we get some additional information.
Does it affect anybody's vote? It doesn't affect
Well,
mine, so
it doesn't
I
affect
don't know if
mine.
it affects others.
I agree it doesn't affect my vote because I want this to happen. Yes, I'd love it to be ARPA money, but if ARPA money doesn't come, the way I'm reading this, if the ARPA money doesn't come through and we support it, then it happens. And if the ARPA money comes through and we support it, then we defer to the ARPA money.
If the ARPA for this is approved, we use ARPA money instead of borrowing.
Yeah.
If ARPA is not approved for this, ARPA can be used for something else,
And we still get the rooftop chillers.
but we would have to borrow, yes.
Yes.
So I don't know if deferring matters, Mike, because we're not going to have a guarantee that it's ARPA funded. If that's the only reason you would vote for it, that is definitely ARPA funded. We can always re-vote at the town meeting if we wanted to, but I don't think you're going to know that for a month or two.
I can't answer that question one way or another.
Yeah.
I am a little ambivalent about all of this. And that's just my personal view. If we borrow, it's going to go on the levy.
Did I miss something? I thought we were still on the playground replacement.
No, we're talking about the rooftop chiller.
Sorry, what was the vote on that, Walter?
The
didn't
playground,
vote
we
on it.
didn't vote.
Okay.
Mike wanted more information, so we.
Okay. I thought that had continued to this. Sorry.
We should be making a decision about whether this is an appropriate expenditure of money. Who's going to provide the money is not an important issue. If this is not an appropriate expenditure of money, then we shouldn't do it. If the rooftop chillers don't need replaced, we shouldn't replace them. If they do need replaced, we should replace them.
Yeah.
Because I agree with Hank on that. It's like we wouldn't want to spend the ARPA money on something we don't need. So I think it's whether you think you need it or not.
A necessity.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I make a motion?
Sounds like a good idea.
Sure,
to
because
me.
we can continue discussion after a motion. Yes.
I move.
As
to
long as
rec-
Mike, you don't object.
No, I'm not
Vote now.
suggesting we defer it.
Okay.
Hank raises a valid point, and I'm prepared to vote.
We could always
Okay.
re-vote it if more information comes in.
Correct.
Right. I move
Yep.
to recommend the town vote to raise and appropriate Borrow or, so wait, we're leaving this as a raise and appropriate, because right now the motion reads all choices.
Put the whole sentence in there because that's what the town council says we have to do. The intention is to borrow. If I had my way, we'd say borrow, but the intention is to borrow.
But you really should, you might, if that, you really, I just noticed that it has all three. You may want to wait on this one to see what the motion is, because you should really make a recommendation with regard to the motion. So if you believe that the motion is going to be to do a borrow, you should recommend to borrow. You would never recommend to do all three. Those wiggle words are only there to give the person who makes the motion the opportunity to do one of those three.
Right. I mean, we believe it's going to be a borrow.
Except in this case, it might be opera funds, which would not be a borrow. So I think we do need flexibility unless that gets resolved.
Again,
Okay, can I do something that's wiggle room? I recommend the town vote to fund the sum of $1,500,000 for the purpose.
You don't want to do that. That's a bad idea.
I think you could say we might not be in favor of raise and appropriate, but we might be in favor of borrow or transfer.
I mean, from a financial policy perspective, this large an expenditure should be a borrow.
Unless it's ARPA funds.
Well, but if it's ARPA funds, then we won't borrow. The key thing is that you need to give the Board of Selectmen and the school department the authority to execute the contracts. If you put it up as a borrow, you can give them that authority.
I don't see how, if we tell them they can only borrow and it gets paid another way.
Because we don't borrow money for specific projects. We borrow money to meet all of the needs of all of the capital that's been authorized for borrow. If we're able to fund the capital by means other than the borrow, we do that.
So actually, just to cut back, we are making a recommendation to town to vote. If the motion is different than what we recommend, we can re-vote it on before the vote.
Correct, absolutely correct.
Right, but I'd like to make the recommendation to have it printed in the book that we support the concept of replacing the rooftop chillers.
Yeah, but what you do then is you say we recommend the town vote to authorize a borrow of $1,500,000 for the purpose of the article, or for the purpose of replacing the high school rooftop chillers.
Well, technically, I don't see how they can then use ARPA funds unless they borrow them for 10 minutes or something, because
so, hey, guys, if we're not ready to vote, let's move on, because this argument, you're not going to, the ARPA funds aren't going to close for a number of months.
That's
you got to get guidance on what's, you got to get guidance on what's allowable. Then we have to go through an allocation process, and the Board of Selectmen is going to have to vote on every allocation. That's going to take more than the time between now and the town meeting.
Nobody's arguing
let's be realistic about it.
I say borrow or transfer.
John Arnold is, will the motion on the town meeting floor be what's written here in the warrant, or will it be just one of those?
It will be one of those. And if you want to wait till next week, we can add, I mean, I'm hoping that we have the draft motions, before, sometime early next week. So you guys, I mean, I can send a note to Christy asking about this one, and you can always just wait to see if you have a draft motion by Thursday. But when these are written this way, it's always to give the person who makes the motion the ability to have one of those in play. But the motion would always be some specific borrowed amount, and sometimes a mixture of borrowing and transfers. But you want to make a recommendation on whatever you think the motion is going to be, not on this generic wording.
Okay, so I'm going to say let's hold off and see if we can't find out the actual motion. Then we can make that recommendation. Okay. I don't know if this one has the same problem, because this is also ARPA.
It's an identical motion.
Yeah.
It's the same issue.
No, this one looks like it's written specifically as a borrow. If you scroll back up.
Yeah.
Because the first words.
Vote to appropriate.
No, but that's the money. And then, but
Yeah.
that's just appropriate. It's a two-step process.
Yeah.
You have to appropriate the money and then you find the funding source.
The
And
funding
I believe-
source.
Oh, and then it says borrow or transfer. Yeah, so it does in number 3. So you might want to ask about this one too,
So you
to
need
find out where
you need
the,
to hold
what they
off
think
on
the
this one
motion's
till
going
you
to
get
be.
an answer.
Okay.
Well, I think the answer we're going to need is from legal, not from, because we already
No,
know that it's either, please don't
what's in the-
interrupt. It's either going to be borrow or it's going to be opera, and they want to, it will have to leave it open. I think it's a legal opinion. I think
It's
we
not
should
a
have both.
Paul, it's not a legal opinion. The motion gets made by the town, by the Board of Selectmen or the school committee.
We're making a
Excuse me.
recommendation, not a motion.
But
Right.
we're saying we don't want to make our recommendation till we understand what the motion is. We have to make our recommendation on the article and on the motion.
All right,
If the motion's not what we expect it to be, we can change our recommendation.
I just got word from Amber that the wording was crafted by Christie's lawyers.
That's correct. The wording is always crafted by our attorneys. What we were just told is that we make the choice in the motion, and the motions will be available next week.
Okay, we're moving on. The whole point of tonight was to vote the ones that are easy and get more information on the ones that are more complicated. So let's move on to Article 11, Senior Needs Assessment. And we can revisit the other ones when we have more information, or we'll just make a choice later. Is there any reason we can't vote this?
I move the finance committee recommend the town transfer from free cash the sum of $50,000 for the purposes of a senior needs assessment as described in the warrant.
Bradley, second.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion?
Walter, just for background, I talked with Christie and asked her whether it was possible to fund this from the Chauncey Lake Stabilization Fund, and she said no. The town attorney said we could not transfer the money from the Chauncey Lake Stabilization Fund, so we're using free cash.
Does it really cost $50,000 for this type of study?
It's a very extensive study.
So we went through this 2 meetings ago. I don't know if you were there, Beth, but or read the report from Weston that Christie sent.
Okay.
So
Just as part of discussion, I'll mention that I'm going to vote no on this because I don't think $50,000 is necessary to spend on information that's generally available, whether it's even from the Weston study, with a little bit of work inside, but not to pay a consultant. So that my vote will be no.
okay. Yeah, my general feeling was that it was an important thing to do because of how it got people in the town involved in the process, and doing a survey of there's a large constituency in what they feel they would like to have happen. And so I think it's somewhat important to have it not just be, this is what the people of Weston wanted, but this is what the people here who may have different needs, wants, or desires, or existing facilities. Let them get in, because of it. Ultimately, they have to support, because none of this happens moving forward without, as we know, spending money. So I think this is an appropriate thing.
Yeah,
I agree that is a compelling argument, and I would spend, say, $10,000 for that maybe, but
I'm with Paul.
it's not the Weston. I'm not saying follow the Weston. I'm just saying nothing in that report didn't apply to us. So I think that made me think we've got the same problems every town has, or issues.
Paul, I understand your feelings about it, but the problem we seem to have in Westborough is all of the information and the data is really decentralized, and a lot of what we hear is anecdotal. A process like this will give us a chance to consolidate, get the information all together under one roof, so to speak, and give many more people in the town the opportunity to participate and make their feelings known about this. There are a lot of our seniors who don't speak up and do not advocate. And I speak specifically, unfortunately, about the Council on Aging. They don't seem to advocate for this senior community as they should. And I think doing this kind of needs assessment will allow that to happen. And by the way, it might also clear up the constant reprise we hear about the need for a new senior center, or at least inform us a little better on it. So a good consulting job has to be paid for. It's the old adage, you get what you pay for.
I think Hank had an interesting comment on consultants several months ago, is that they show you where the snakes are, but they don't show you how to kill them. So, it's 50 grand does sound like a lot, but it might be money well spent.
Yeah, in this case, I think a lot of it is spent because you wanted to do outreach to a group that isn't necessarily, you just put something up on the website and you get all the information you ever needed. But anyway, is there further discussion, or because we can vote otherwise?
We're ready for the vote?
Blumberg,
Waiting. No.
Okay. Voting. Okay.
Did we do the move?
Yeah.
I don't think they did a motion. There was no motion.
Oh, sorry.
No, I have Hank making a motion and Andrew Bradley seconding.
Okay, I did second this one. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, it all sort of blends into one, so I understand completely how you might. Right, I wrote it down, so if I got it on the right line, I'm okay. Okay, Blumberg is a no. Melanie?
Board, no.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, no.
Eagle, no.
Leslie's yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, no.
You say
Already,
no?
yes.
Hold on, I just want to get Zaffer. You said no.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, no. Okay.
No, it's no.
And Beretti is a yes.
Yes.
4 yeses, therefore, and 5 noes. So it does not pass. 4 to 5. Well, I guess we
Okay.
still- so just a point. We recommend. So don't we end up recommending the town doesn't? How's that work? We're recommending the town doesn't vote for it 5 to 4.
Well, the motion was defeated, so you need another motion.
And we can actually submit a motion in the negative. That is, that we vote that the town does not. We move to recommend that the town does not.
Or we can
whatever,
vote the
50
amount.
I guess I'm asking as a
Hey.
rookie, what did we do in the R&R in the past?
Well,
We
if
split the
if we
motion.
believe that the senior, that a needs assessment's appropriate, but we think the spending's excessive, then we ought to recommend a different spending figure. If we believe the senior needs assessment's not necessary, then we ought to state that and vote on it not being necessary.
All right, I'll make a motion, see how this flies. I recommend that I move that we recommend the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $25,000 for the purpose of completing an assessment of the needs of the senior citizens in the community.
There a second?
Bradley, second. I'll remember this one.
Discussion, please.
Yeah, folks understand that on the town meeting floor, I would predict that a motion will be made to raise $50,000, and the policy of the procedure in the town meeting is for the town meeting to vote on the higher sum of money before they vote on a lower sum of money. So the town will vote on the $50,000.
I would
Okay.
either, if we can, I would just say we're not going to vote for the 50,000, or I would vote that we agree there's a need for an assessment, but I wouldn't put a number on it because I think it would be arbitrary. I don't want to give money if if there's no such product available.
Well, I would suggest that we should recommend that some body of people reassess what the appropriate spending level is.
Yeah, I like
Uh,
that.
Okay.
There is, Hank,
Let
can I have
Mike
my
go.
say, please?
Yes.
We do not know where the 50,000 number came from. It would be appropriate for us to ask the town manager where this number came from and what's backing it up.
I thought it came
If
from.
Mike, hold on.
Please, may I finish? If we go to the town floor with a $25,000 appropriate recommendation, we better have the data to back it up, because we're going to look like a bunch of fools.
I
And
agree.
I don't think we are.
So
I don't-
Chrissy actually answered this at our last meeting. She
Yeah.
was going off the Weston study and added some number of few $1,000s to provide for translational and a little more outreach service. So I think the previous study was on the ilk of 45,000, say. So that's where the number came from.
Yeah, we don't have another number.
No. Beth?
I'm willing to withdraw the motion. I just figured that we could ask for less from the study and say, start with the Weston study and move on from there rather than start from scratch. So I'm willing to withdraw the
Again,
motion.
the select board is the sponsor. What would we recommend the sponsor, the select board do? Would we recommend they go out for bids? Would we recommend they figure it out for themselves without a study, form a committee? What would we recommend they do?
It seems to me that right now our recommendation 5-4 is to not support this. If someone on town meeting floor made a motion to do it, say for 25,000, then we could vote as a group whether or not to support that.
Okay. So
I don't know
Can I-
whether we need to make a motion ahead of time.
the
Right?
motion that we want to put into based on our 5-4 vote, the motion that we want to put into the R&R is we recommend the town, I don't want to use the word pass over, not support this article.
Defeat the article. The
Defeat the-
terminology we
Yeah,
use today is defeat the article.
Yeah, as Hank pointed out, the motion was to support this. It was defeated. So the committee so far has not taken an action on any recommendation. So if the committee wants to have this not pass, someone should make a recommendation that the committee recommend to defeat the article.
So I move the finance committee recommended the town that they defeat the article for funding a senior needs assessment.
There's a second.
Could we include 50K in there to be specific?
No. I mean, if they're going to defeat, you either defeat the motion or you.
No.
I'm moving that that we recommend the town defeat the needs assessment.
Okay,
If you want to move something else, move something else.
We
okay.
want to move something else.
Go
Move
ahead,
it.
Beth.
I want to recommend that we defeat the senior needs assessment for the amount of $50,000
And do what?
and consider taking it back to investigation, whatever, but I don't like $50,000.
I think it would be good. I mean, I don't think any of us don't believe that a senior needs assessment is a good idea. So I think you might want to include that, if there's a way to do this, I don't know. But, we agree that it's needed, but not for 50,000. I don't know.
Right.
Can I jump in here for a minute?
Yes.
We could agree that it's needed. However, we would like either a bid or more information on specific cost, words to that effect. In other words, we don't want to just cast a vote saying we recommend they defeat it,
Right.
because we all believe that it's important, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But our quibble is with Our quibble is with the amount, and we'd
So
like
let me try
clarification.
another motion. I move the finance committee recommend that the senior needs assessment be referred back to the select board, and that with a recommendation that the select board form an exploratory committee to define the scope, content, and results expected, and bring back appropriate requests for funding at the next annual town meeting.
Or the next town meeting, maybe.
At the next town meeting.
So we're pushing it to the fall.
Well, in reality, you're pushing it to next spring because they'll never get it done by fall.
Well, I would vote for that. The only thing is I would just assume they rethink, because that sounds like we're saying, come up with a different amount, and they will do that. I'd rather just see them reassess, do the study, but handle it internally like every study I've ever done in private business. If I used a consultant, it was for show.
Again, we need to get a second for the motion.
Right. Well, let's get Tom as his hand up.
I think this could be, well, just a spitball on maybe explaining why the committee recommends to defeat it. We could have a quick explanation on saying, hey, everyone agrees that the assessment is valuable. However, the $50,000 seems excessive. Something along those lines.
So it seems like making a motion to just the opposite of what we just said, because the first motion was to recommend that the town approve transfer of $50,000 from free cash for the purpose of completing assessment. And so the motion should be, we recommend that the town does not transfer from free cash $50,000 for the purpose of completing a senior needs assessment. And then you can vote the opposite way you voted last time, or vote however you like.
And then in the R&R, we can explain why we voted it down. Not that we're against the concept.
Again, typically the way that works in town meeting, historically and in the past, is either the chairperson from the selectmen, from the finance committee, or one of the members of the finance committee addresses the town meeting as part of the discussion period to explain why we made the choice we made. Because to try and put anything more than a sentence or two in the R&R, you won't get your message across.
No.
So typically somebody from the finance committee would stand up and go up to the microphone and explain the details of why we think it's a bad idea.
That makes sense.
How about if we just, if the motion is to defeat the article as written, but we believe in a senior needs assessment, something simple.
Yeah.
But not,
I mean, you're not giving any direction to the select board, right? You're saying, hey, don't spend $50,000, but you're not giving them any direction on what
That's
you want
okay.
them to do.
you're right, that's right.
That's okay.
Not okay with me, but if it's okay with you, it's fine.
No, I think we need to
everybody
give the
agrees
select.
the concept is good. The concept is very important. What the people who voted it down are saying is, it seems like an extraordinary amount of money to get an assessment. I said in the last meeting, you get these people in, and you need it, or so you say you need it, and yet that's a big cost factor in what you're doing. $50,000 for the assessment alone. Do you know how far $50,000 could go for some of the people in the community that maybe need supplements to their medications?
Again, if we believe there's a different number that's more appropriate, we should put that number forward.
We don't. I don't have a number. How would I have that?
Something far lower than 50,000.
Well, again, I would suggest that you have a very capable town manager and town staff, including a number of different, the Board of Health and the health officer and other folks of that sort who've come up and said this is the way to do it.
I suggest that we just.
Okay, hold on, everybody. We're talking over each other too much. You got to let the person in front of you finish what they want to say, or we have to go through the chair each time, which seems a little crazy. So please. Everybody try and respect other people who are talking. Beth?
I would suggest that we defer this as we did the school committee until we have more information, and that we, go back and ask for more information about the cost and, the reasoning behind the cost. And vote it next week.
Nothing's going to change as far as I can see.
I also think we need to remember that we're going to be voting against a motion that'll be placed by the town for the for the funding for free cash for $50,000. So in my mind, it makes the most sense if the majority are against this, that we vote to defeat the motion for $50,000, because that's what the standing motion will be, because we're just making a recommendation.
Mhm.
Let me try
Yeah.
the motion again. I recommend the finance committee, I move the finance committee recommend the town defeat the senior needs assessment, article number 11 as written.
Second.
Okay, so Hank has moved that we defeat the article number 11 senior needs assessment as written. And I have a second from Beth. And so any further discussion? And we can, if there's some, we're not done with the R&R for several days, so we can take this vote and then people can sleep on it too. But it would make sense to me to flip the vote from what we had, which was in the negative. So, Beth?
Lumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
So you're voting to defeat, Andrew?
I'm voting to defeat. This conversation has changed my vote.
Okay, good, cool.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
I'm gonna vote no.
Roush, no.
Siddiqui, yes.
Already no.
Okay, so what I got is that was passed 6-3.
Yeah.
So we voted 6-3 to defeat the article 11. Okay. Master plan implementation, $16,000. Any reason not to vote this right now? We had visitors at our last meeting for this. Maybe it was the meeting before, I don't remember. I think it was the meeting before.
I move the finance committee recommend the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $16,000 for the master plan implementation.
Dolan,
So
second.
Dolan. Okay, any further discussion?
I think this goes to support the statement about the you can pay for the snakes, but they don't tell you what to do with it. In this case, we're now paying some more money to tell them what to do with the capital, the town improvement snakes, so to speak.
What to do with the snakes? You can train the snakes. Okay, Beth.
Lumberg, yes.
Melanie?
Board abstain.
Bradley, yes.
Yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Already no.
Okay, so I have 7-1-1. Is that what you got, Paul?
Yes.
So that's in favor, 7-1-1.
Yes.
All right. Next up are the two LRRP articles that we talked about at our last meeting with Development Department, Community Development Department. I guess we might as well take them separately. So 13A, the Shop Local Marketing Campaign. Is there any reason we can't vote this? If not, I'll take a motion.
I move the AFC recommend the town vote to transfer from the Economic Development Revolving Account the sum of $4,500 for the Shop Local marketing campaign as described in the warrant.
Siddiqui second.
Bradley second.
Okay, I got Siddiqui and second. Any further discussion?
I have just a little discussion. That is that I'm going to vote against this because I don't see that it will work. I respect the presentation that was made and the thought behind it. I think it was all good thinking, but in my opinion, it won't work. It won't create plus business. It's too complicated, whatever else. So I don't think it's a big item. So I don't want to put that more than that into it. Thank you.
Okay,
I'm going to abstain because I'm not sure if I have a conflict of interest on this one.
okay. It's always a good thing
I
to
have
do.
some reservations with regards to the way that they're going to track the efficacy of this, kind of speaking to Paul's point. But I know the money is coming from the Economic Development Revolving Account. This is kind of what they're there for. And if it takes them doing some testing and they will learn from it and try and do better, I'm 4,500 seems short money for what they need to do if they're going to learn.
Yeah, I'm also hopeful that they take your suggestion that you made at the meeting, that would be a good thing to track. And he seemed interested in that. So.
I agree that there's no measure of success. And if you don't have that, people tend to, after it happens, say that worked and explain, the kind of the goalposts. There were no goalposts.
Yeah.
So that's another reason. But I think it's a good idea, but I don't want to spend that much money. It's not a good idea. It's a good spirit.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I think it's good in spirit. I'm going to vote against it because I don't feel that's sufficient funding to do a proper job.
Okay.
I think that's a good point too. I don't know how they're going to promote it without spending a ton more.
With our billboards. Sorry.
Billboards. Okay, anybody else want to say anything before we vote?
I'm going to abstain just where I think I have a conflict of interest as a local business owner.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so Beth abstained. Melanie?
Board, no.
Bradley?
Bradley, yes.
Dolan abstain.
Eagle, no.
No. Okay. Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Peretti, no.
All right. It's a little more complicated. 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses, 3 noes, and 2 abstains.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, that's a pretty full house.
Walter, I may ask for some help from John as to whether 4 out of 9 constitutes a quorum.
It's the count of those voting. Five people don't have to be in favor or against. What was the count again? I lost track when you were counting.
4 to 3. So we have 7 people voting.
That's yeah.
Well,
And what was the 4?
I voted.
4, 3 to 2. The 2 people abstained. So
Right. Yeah.
there is a
So it's
quorum of
4 in favor, 3 against, 2 abstain.
Yeah.
In that
Yeah.
case, the motion carries.
Yeah, because the 2 abstains go with the majority.
You don't count. No, they don't count.
They don't count at all? Okay.
No, they
fine.
don't count. It's as if you didn't vote. You
Okay.
count for a quorum. It doesn't count for a vote, but you don't need to have 5 members voting in favor. A 4 to 3 vote is acceptable.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Hank. And thanks, John. Minority and women-owned business outreach and support, also from the local rapid recovery planning department. Any reason we can't vote? If not, somebody can make a motion.
I'm going to abstain again because I again fit into this category, I believe.
Somebody want to take a shot at a motion?
Yeah, I move the Finance Committee recommend the town vote to transfer from Economic Development Revolving Account $30,000 for a minority and women-owned business outreach support.
Is there a
Bradley
second?
second.
Bradley second. Okay. Any further discussion?
I'll discuss in the sense that I would vote no for this because I think I'd love to see that money go to minority and women-owned businesses, but I don't want to see that money go to a consultant. Assuming we've identified, and which I believe we have based on the gentleman's report on that he did a census outreach, I think that businesses are identified. So if I had $30,000, I'd rather, I don't know, set up a grant program or whatever else is appropriate to get it to those people rather than to a consultant.
I echo Paul's sentiment.
And
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
only felt
say-
if we're going to use a consultant, if it's not someone within our community, because I think there are plenty of probably capable consultants within our own community.
You know,
Well,
this
we
is
don't know
similar-
whether it's within our community or not at this point because they're not hired.
This is similar to the senior assessment. It's basically going down the same path. Hire a consultant to, make some kind of to create a plan. So it may be that we ask for additional information, however you want to put it. I'm going to vote against this as much as I'm in support of it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna guess that we're not gonna get enough votes to pass this, but we can vote through, but we're gonna have to amend our motion back to,
Just out
Well,
of curiosity, where does the economic development revolving account get funded from?
this is from billboards.
Okay,
So what they explained last week was that they had money from the billboards that they usually give out in grants. They didn't give out all the grants because of what was going on in COVID. So they had the money and so they were going to fund from that.
okay.
Are we ready for a vote?
I guess we might as well take it though. I think we're going to do it twice. So, all right, Blumberg abstained, I assume.
Walter, you got to kind of let me say I abstain, but yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna abstain.
All right, Beth, what do you want to do?
Abstain.
Okay. Melanie?
Board, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Nolan abstain.
Legal no.
Leslie, yes.
Roush abstained.
Cadigi, no.
Already no.
All right. 1, 2, 3 yeses. 1, 2, 3 no's, and 3 abstains. We've done a 3-3-3.
Sorry.
Tie vote means the motion does not carry.
Okay. The motion does not carry. So once again, do we want to make a motion to not support?
I move the finance committee recommend the town defeat this article as printed in the warrant.
I second.
Already second.
Okay, so hold on, I gotta get names.
How does that not get us back to 3-3-3?
It
I was
may.
just gonna say that.
Might
Oh,
change.
yeah.
So, for those who are abstaining, and this may require some feedback from John, I thought as long for an article like this or for recommendations like this, I thought as long as you stated the potential conflict, and it was obvious and that you were voting based on your what you felt was appropriate, that it was okay, that you didn't have to abstain.
Yeah, I
I
actually don't
misremembering
know.
this?
I mean, I'd have to think about it. But I think if people feel that by taking a position on it in favor or against, that they would somehow not,
Here in
not feel comfortable applying for one of this if it happened. But I mean, if the committee wants me to dig deeper or somebody to dig deeper, they can. But I'll just, while I'm got the mic here, if it turns out that it's 3-3, you could revisit it until you print the book, and you could put in the booklet that there was no vote for a recommendation, and that you can either print an explanation, or when it comes up, you can give the explanation orally.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't know if it's worth re-voting if things are just going to stay the same. So,
Well, also,
Is there something for the folks who said no? Is there something that could be done to reframe the motion so that we could get a majority? Maybe not.
He's got his hand up.
Siddiqui?
Yeah, I was thinking
Definitely.
this money is going directly to the people who are going to benefit from it. But if it's, I heard that this is going to be spent on consultants. That's why my vote is no.
Okay, let's move on.
So
Can I ask a dumb question? Do we have sufficient staffing in the economic development office to do this kind of work without hiring consultants or without bringing in outside resources? Does anybody know whether we have more than one person? I know we have one person in that office. Does anybody know whether we have more than one person?
No clue.
In terms of
I don't think the
staff,
question was asked.
I think we have a director and that's it. And they're supported also through the community development group as a whole for administrative and
Yeah,
others.
so I mean, the director has a boss, but and there's a volunteer committee that helps them.
Right.
I mean, at one level, we need to start thinking about empowering that director. I mean, if we're really concerned about the decline in commercial and industrial activity in the town, contributing to the tax base, we might want to think about empowering the economic development coordinator to do something.
Yeah. Well, I kind of view it as this is how they've decided they want to spend their funds this year. And he did have a plan that was sort of 10-prong, and these were a couple of the first ones. They didn't get a grant for this, but they want to move forward, and this is how they learn. So, but
yeah, I think that's a good argument. I just think that we are being asked to vote on it, and for me, I don't agree with it. So I'm not going to empower someone to do something I don't agree with if I have power to recommend. It's all it is a recommendation.
okay, I suggest we move on. We can
Well,
revisit it.
Shouldn't we actually officially vote so that you have that on record?
I don't think you can vote for the negative. If it's going to be a tie, then that one is going to be defeated. That's what I think Andrew was getting at.
Well,
Unless somebody changed their mind.
Right, okay.
I mean, I think. we
Okay.
need to just
All right,
declare-
so we have a motion on the floor from Hank, seconded by Mike, to defeat the article. So let's revote again. This is to defeat the article
Bloomberg
that we just
abstained.
voted. You abstain. Melanie?
Abstain.
Uh-oh. No, we're gonna more abstains. Okay, Bradley?
Bradley, no.
Dolan abstain.
Paul?
This is defeat. Yes. Yes. Hegel, yes.
Okay. Leslie, no. Hank, you still abstaining or
I'm going to abstain.
abstain? Z?
Siddiqui,
I didn't hear you, sorry.
Siddiqui, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Already, yes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3 yeses. 1.
3, 2, 4, right?
No's that time.
Yeah, I think it's 3, 2, 4 now.
Yes, that's what I have.
In that case, the motion
3,
carries.
2, 4, so the motion carries.
See, so voting was worthwhile.
Yeah. Thank you. So we have voted to recommend that this article be defeated by a vote of 3 to 2 to 4. Okay. Interesting.
When we get to this in town meeting, somebody please get my attention to remind you to explain.
I'm sure somebody's going to ask.
I was going to say, I do support minorities and women being helped. I just not indirectly. I'd rather see it direct.
Right. I just want to make sure. I mean, on this, in all of these, I just want to make sure that somebody remind me to give the committee a chance to say that, conceptually support versus particular wording. And I just want to make sure that you have that opportunity. So please remind me if in my haste to get through this, I forget.
Since, John, I have the feeling that I'm going to be taking the slings and arrows.
Yeah.
So I will remind you.
Okay, great. Yeah. And it's not like you have to do it. If you feel that there's somebody
No,
who's more in
yeah.
line with your thinking, who wants to give it on the committee's behalf, as long as the committee agrees with whoever the spokesperson is, that's fine with me.
Mhm. We'll
right,
figure
thanks.
that out.
All right,
We'll work
thanks.
that-
Okay, it is now 8:45, so let's try and get through a few more if we can. Article 14, Town Water System Improvements. It is Article 14. Can I get a motion? Or is there some reason we can't vote?
Okay, so
Yes.
this one has the same problem with appropriate borrower transfer. It doesn't have the motion wording, so I suggest we delay this one till we have the motion.
I think we should go with borrow because it's not, unless opera is in play for this one.
Okay, so just commit to borrow with, okay.
Yeah, I think,
I move to recommend the town vote to borrow the sum of $810,000 for the purpose of this article.
I'll second, Paul.
Okay, and that is Beth and Paul Hugel. Okay, if they end up making another motion to do something else, we can vote that again, I assume, at town meeting. Okay, so we have a motion for a borrow. Does anybody have further discussion on this?
Yeah, Walter, do we understand why this isn't being taken out of the water and sewer retained earnings? Everything else.
When
we
it was
do in the
asked,
water.
they haven't planned for this, but their expectation is that they're going to be building this into the cost going forward.
So they can, again, I believe it should be coming out of water and sewer retained earnings.
Now, I think the way it typically works is that the town borrows on its behalf, and then the payment back of the borrowing is done through the rates and the retained earnings. But the borrowing, I think, is always done by the town.
Okay, as long as it's a borrow then.
Yeah, it is a
Right.
borrow. Yeah.
And our motion is for a borrow. And
Yep.
that's why it would make sense, because it get paid back by the water users. Okay, Beth,
Yeah, Blumberg, yes.
Board, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Yes.
Ready, yes.
All right, we have a 900. Moving on to the next Article 15, Water Infrastructure Improvements.
I move
And go ahead.
move that we recommend the town vote to borrow $1,482,000 for the purpose of this article.
A second?
Bradley, second.
Oh, this has ARPA funding issues too.
You want to wait?
I think it's in the same kettle of fish that we wait for the motion then.
And the motion is not going to be for ARPA funds because ARPA funds are not doled out by the town meeting.
I understand, but this was what
But
Paul had stated before, if we move to borrow and then we put
If-
money out there,
We're going to have some recommendation.
yeah.
If they don't need to borrow the money because they're able to fund it from ARPA funds, then they won't borrow the money.
But then why didn't we vote the other articles that had ARPA funds?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
I mean, I'm really disturbed that we decided to have an issue with school committee articles without having, and I just want to be parallel.
I did not agree with holding everything up for ARPA funds. You're not going to
All
have a decision on ARPA
So,
funds in an actionable
Let's,
time.
it's getting late. Let's revisit that one on Monday as well.
Okay.
And we'll try, and the next one, we'll try and get a little more clarity on what the motion would be and whether the motion should be borrow or transfer from available funds or something like that.
I hate
Because
to-
that covers both scenarios.
Walt, I hate to say it, but 14 does have opera mentioned in the note. I didn't see that. So I don't know if that,
Did we just pass 14? Is that what you're telling me?
yeah.
Yeah, we did.
900.
All right.
Or does it
we
not?
can leave
Yeah,
it
I
and
was
we
there.
can revote it if we want to revote it once we have the other information.
I recommend we treat 14 the same as 15, the same as the school articles.
Right.
And that we consider it for revote on Monday.
Sounds good.
So we'll
16 sounds
technically
like-
leave the vote and then revote it.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
If we want to be consistent, we should scratch the vote on 14. All right, 17,
Can you,
no mention of ARPA.
thank you. I recommend the town vote to transfer from water retained earnings a sum of $75,000 for the purpose of this article.
Dolan second.
Bradley second.
Okay, heard Dolan first. Any further discussion?
Lumberg, yes.
Okay. Melanie?
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Ready, yes.
Okay, that's 900. Article 18. Stabilization fund transfer, water and sewer improvements.
No
mention of
ARPA.
ARPA.
I move that the town vote to transfer $15,000 from the mitigation stabilization fund for the purpose of this article.
Okay,
Bradley
excellent.
second.
And Bradley seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote.
Lumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Ready, yes.
900. Next up, the cinema from the select board. 2 articles. The first of it's Article 19, transfer from free cash for the management and maintenance. I don't know of a reason we can't vote that now, so that somebody want to make a motion?
I move that we recommend the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $200,000 for the purpose of maintaining management and maintenance of the property at 231 Turnpike Road.
Second?
Siddiqui, second.
Any further discussion?
I didn't realize, and I don't know why, that we had actually gained ownership of the cinema. That's great.
Yes, we own it. So, Beth,
Lumberg, yes.
Ford, no.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Ready, yes.
Okay, that's 900. Now on to 231
No.
Turnpike.
No, it's not.
Board voted against it.
Oh, sorry.
8-1.
Yep.
Oh, thank you very much. 810.
One.
It's getting late. Very good. Thank you.
Walter, can I just verify, because I didn't write it down, that 18 was 900, right?
18, I had all in favor. 18 and 17, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I don't hear anybody objecting. So we can always watch the video on Westborough TV.
Yay.
Article 20, This is for transfer and disposition by the select board. I think this could be just as recommend as written in the warrant kind of article because there's no money.
I recommend the town so vote.
Okay. Is there a second?
Bradley, second.
Any discussion? Okay, let's go to a vote.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Bolin, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes. Hank?
Oh, Hank, Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Moretti, yes.
Right, that one is 9-0. Okay. Go a little bit further here. Westborough Affordable House Trust Funding. This is a transfer. And no ARPA involved. Any reason somebody can't make vote on this now?
I
Take a
make
motion.
a
Go ahead.
motion that we recommend the town vote to transfer funds in the amount of $1,200,000 from the stabilization fund Del Webb Chauncey Lake to the Westborough Affordable Housing Trust for this period.
Good. Second?
Bradley, second.
Thank you, Andrew. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Bolin, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
I'm a trustee and I'm going to abstain.
Okay,
Siddiqui, yes.
Moretti, yes.
so we have 8-0-1 in favor. Now this is the transfer of property. So this does
There is money
have
involved.
money involved, so.
Yeah.
And is this the one that's actually Baylor Avenue?
Yeah.
Yes.
it's
Nolan
road
has
versus
pointed
Ave.
out that the actual road is 3 Baylor Avenue, so that might be the motion on town meeting floor.
Mm.
And in any case, someone
Oh.
want to try a motion on this one?
I recommend the town vote to transfer the care and custody and control of the parcel of land at 3 Baylor Avenue, identified, no, I'm gonna skip that, from tax custodian for tax title purposes to the select board for the purpose of conveyance, and further to authorize the select board to convey said parcel to the Westborough Affordable Housing Trust for affordable housing purposes in exchange for compensation in the amount of $48,000. Hopefully I read enough of it.
Sounds good to me. Is there a second?
Siddiqui, second.
Siddiqui, is there any further discussion? Oh, everybody good? Okay, Beth.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, no.
Bradley, yes.
Bolin, yes.
Eagle, abstain, conflict of interest, possible.
Okay, Leslie, yes. Rouch,
Roush, I abstain. I'm a trustee.
Siddiqui, yes.
Moretti, yes.
all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. What you got, Paul?
I thought I had 3 abstaining besides me and Hank. Is there another?
Yeah.
Melanie.
I was a no.
No, Melanie was a no.
I'm sorry. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
2 abstains, 1 no, 6 yes.
Okay.
All right, I don't know if we want to deal with the CPA at this late time. I want to go see if there's some other low-hanging fruit.
Okay.
This one looks easier.
Wastewater's easy, 24.
Yeah, wastewater treatment plant.
I move that we recommend the town vote to authorize the select board to enter into an amendment to a certain intermunicipal agreement entered into by the town and the town of Shrewsbury dated September 11th, 1979, with the new text as recommended. I recommend the town so vote. There's no money.
Dolan,
No.
second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Beth?
Lumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Moretti, yes.
So that one's 9-0. I think this one's also somewhat non-controversial. Hometown Hero Banner Revolving Account. Article 25. I think we could just say as written in the warrant. No,
I move that the FC recommends town approves Article 25 as printed in the warrant.
Bradley, is there a second?
Dig is second.
Any discussion?
I don't actually know what that is.
The Hometown
So
Hero
if you-
program or the account?
The-
They're going to be putting up banners on those light poles in town. And to
Okay.
do that, they need an account that they can get donations or people
Okay.
paying in and then buy the banners with.
Okay. I'm ready to vote then.
Okay. And this is the other information. Anybody else comments? Okay. Let's start, Beth.
Lumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Moretti abstain because it will affect me directly.
Congratulations.
Hey. 8-0. Okay.
801, you said, right?
801, yes. Sorry. One abstain. Thank you. Article 26 is to add the word sustainability. Anybody need more information? Or are we ready to vote?
I move the AFC recommends the town meeting approve Article 26 as printed in the warrant.
Is there a
Dolan,
second?
second.
Any discussion?
Lumberg, yes.
I think we're getting worn out. Okay.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes. Hank?
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Mike?
Moretti, yes, sorry.
That's okay. 9-0. Okay, let's see what's next. Planning board, next three are about moving the town planner basically to the community development department, I believe. Is that right? Yes, 27, 28, and 29.
I recommend the town so vote.
Okay.
Bradley, second.
Any discussion? This is all this stuff. Okay. Hearing none, let's vote.
Lumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Mike?
Moretti, yes.
9-0. Coming up on number 28. amend town charter for the same function.
I recommend the town so vote.
Bradley,
Second,
second.
thank you. Any discussion? All set, then go ahead, Beth.
I think there's a comma missing. Do I care? In the article? I mean, it's like a typo. And
No, you don't. Let's go.
I'm gonna make an amendment on town floor.
I'm sorry. That was a 9 o'clock comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bradley, was that a pause?
So, I'm gonna recommend that there be a comment in, I don't know who it gets recommended to, so John, this is for you to know about, that the director of the Department of Public Works, comma, the town council. Blumberg, yes.
Wait a
Ford,
minute.
yeah.
There is a comma there.
No, there isn't.
Bradley, yes.
Hold on.
Oh, guys, come on.
The
It's
third
a-
paragraph, the
Right
fourth
here.
there is, the third there's not.
Right.
Okay, great. All right, so in this
At this
paragraph
rate,
here-
there's going to be a coma there, but not a comma.
Well,
Okay.
while we're making this
All
correction,
right, we have a motion and a second, so let's vote. Beth,
Blumberg, yes, with an amendment coming.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Already, yes.
Okay, that's 9-0. All right. Amend bylaws 29. Article 29.
Recommend the town so vote.
Siddiqui, second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Not, Beth?
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Mike?
Already, yes.
9-0. All right. Any concerns about the next two, which are zoning and Ruggles Street and Pay Mountain? If not, I'll take a motion. I think
Recommend
this
the
is,
town so vote.
okay, yeah, there's no
The money.
no money.
Bradley,
Second.
second.
Thank you, Andrew. Any further discussion? If not, Beth?
If I am allowed to vote after saying there's somewhat of a conflict because I live really close to Ruggles Street, I vote yes.
Not a problem.
That, I didn't think so, but
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Already, yes.
9-0. 31, zoning, Fay Mountain.
I recommend the town so vote.
Dig, yes.
Bradley, second.
Okay, I got Siddiqui on that. Any further discussion? If not, let's vote.
Blumberg, yes, with the same, I don't live that close to this one.
Ford, yes.
Melanie? Okay,
Bradley, yes.
Ford, yes.
yeah, thanks.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
Already, yes.
9-0. Okay, what we got here? This was the amend of bylaws as discussed.
This makes
for
our
the-
parks legal.
Yeah, to make our parks and cemeteries legal.
Yeah, so we don't recreate in the cemeteries.
Yeah, I've had the question of the year. What kind of recreation is allowed in a cemetery?
Absolutely.
I run in
I don't know, but
cemetery.
they're dying to get in.
I used to run in cemeteries.
There you
I've
go.
camped in a
Walks in
cemetery
them.
before.
They're plowed and no traffic.
Yeah.
And it's quiet.
Yeah,
I've camped,
mostly.
Don't wake
I've
up the
camped there. You
resident.
don't get interrupted. I've camped.
All
there.
right,
And the neighbors don't complain.
how about a motion?
I recommend the town so vote.
Is there a second?
Bradley, second.
Any further discussion or comedy? Okay,
We-
let's vote.
We needed that tonight.
Blumberg, yes.
Board, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Bowen, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dick, yes.
Already, yes.
All right, that one's 9-0. Okay, next we got the overlay. Everybody comfortable with that? To vote?
Yeah.
Industrial
I
zones. Go ahead.
And the town so vote. I move that we recommend the town.
Is there a
Bradley,
second?
second.
Thank you, Andrew. Any further discussion?
Only that, I don't know, I'll just mention it. I think there'll be a lot of discussion on the floor on this one, but I'm still for it. Only because.
I mean, just for any public watching, we've sat through
Right.
a lot of information on this. We're not just glossing it over.
Right.
But I would agree, if I was attending a town meeting, I'd want to learn about all this too. Okay, Beth?
Blumberg, no.
Okay, board, Melanie?
Yes. Board, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Bowen, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dick, yes.
Already, yes.
So I have 8-1.
Yeah.
Very good. I don't know.
I want you to know, I keep trying to move the warrant on my own computer. It's not working.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
You have to move the individual articles.
I've been trying.
This is a big article.
Well,
My
it's
God.
great that you're showing it this way. I'm glad we had a remote meeting. This makes it a lot
So
easier.
much easier. Yeah.
Yeah, for you.
Hey, Walter.
I've got tunnel carpal.
That's
Oh,
right.
Walter,
If you
don't
weren't
think I
also
didn't know
taking
this ahead of
minutes, it would
time.
be easier for you.
Okay.
There's no money on this one either. I recommend the town so vote.
Which one are we talking about,
This
please?
is we're now at 34, which is
That's what I
the
thought.
off the
Off-premises
billboard.
signage.
Okay.
Bradley, second.
Further discussion, please.
I was a little uncomfortable. I'm going to say I was a little bit uncomfortable with some of the premises about that it's Clear Channel that's got control and that they won't set up bidding wars and neighbors against neighbors or businesses against businesses along those parcels.
I don't know whether that would happen, but I think they're going to pick out kind of where they want and make somebody an offer. And if they say no, they'll go look for somewhere else. But
I was also.
I personally, I don't love billboards, but I thought that this was crafted in a reasonable manner to at least start regulating them and also potentially
get it
provide
going.
some income to the town, which
Yeah.
seems to be needed these days.
I was also uncomfortable because it seems like a few property owners are going to have a real windfall from this.
Yeah.
But that's not going to make me vote against it because I think if we can get some income from it, it's out in an area where it doesn't bother anybody. So I'll live with that, I guess. I don't know why I would be against somebody making money, but it just seems a little targeted. But fine.
All right, Paul, thank you. That was helpful.
Anybody else have comments? Mike?
No.
Nope. Okay. All right. So I guess we can vote.
All right, Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Mike?
Moretti, yes.
All right, that's 9-0. I'm going to suggest maybe we hold these other ones off. 36, we still have to find out whether it's what the motion's going to be, which I think might be to pass over. And the others might take more energy than I have left.
Can you
Yeah.
roll through to show them while you're talking about them?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay.
Just so you know, while
these
you're
are
scro-
now the citizen petitions
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
next.
while you're scrolling, Walter, I've
Yeah.
reached out to all three proponents to try to figure out what the motions are going to be. And if I can get those to you before you vote, I will let you know. And if I can't, you can always be ready to make a recommendation once we see what the motion is after the book's printed. But right now I have online meetings scheduled with 2 of the 3 articles, and I'm trying to track, I've sent mail, trying to connect with all 3. And if I come up with what I believe the draft motion is going to be, I'll send it along to you.
Great. So the first one is Indigenous Peoples Day. Then there's the elected positions, which is the one that we suspect may get pulled. And then there are the 2 plastic articles we discussed last week.
Wait, so you're saying that Article 36 might get pulled?
Yes.
Okay.
If you watched the select board meeting where he went to discuss, I think he ended up getting somewhat convinced that it was too complicated.
Yeah, I had a
He voted to be
conversation
passed
with him.
over. Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
second.
I had a conversation with Paul George, and he indicated to me that he had requested that the article be pulled.
So that's what I'm trying to
Right.
find out.
Right. John, I'm not in a position, I thought I had his email. I could send it to you. I don't.
My connection is getting flaky. I couldn't hear you, Mike. Could you say it again?
He
Or type
He
it in the
read-
chat?
He told, yeah, I'll send you.
Just send him an email.
I'll send you an email.
John, am I correct that since the warrant's been closed, you can't pull the article? You could just
Correct.
recommend the motion could be, the motion would be to recommend that the article be defeated.
Yeah, even further than that, Hank, it couldn't be taken off the warrant because it was a citizen's petition, even though before they closed the warrant, they knew they didn't want to do it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
again, we just vote to recommend that it be defeated.
Right. So I'm going to recommend we stop voting for now, and we just check our agenda quickly to see if there's anything else we have to do before we adjourn. Mike, do you have any follow-up housekeeping items you need to discuss?
No. Well,
Okay.
I do want to make a comment about tonight, but I'll wait until you get the other ones.
Okay. Let's do liaison reports, if any.
Yes. So,
Okay.
being in contact with the school committee, they requested to be invited to Monday's meeting, and that they wanted to know how the chair is getting information, because there was something about that he wanted more information before he votes, but they don't know what the questions are you want answered, and that the chair of the school committee said they're waiting for a Zoom invitation for themselves, the director of finance and administration, the superintendent and the assistant superintendent, and also an Zoom invitation that'll work for Armstrong parents who will want to attend the public link because they want to advocate for Armstrong's playground.
Yeah, it's been in the past, we've been reluctant to ask citizens to speak at the meetings because you just open up a Pandora's box.
That we have there's a rule about open meetings, and
The meeting is open for people to listen. It's not open for them to present on the floor. Not for-
Correct.
Not,
That's,
And
Hank is correct.
I would not, I would consider it inappropriate for us to start setting a precedent that folks can ask to come speak on the floor.
All right. So then should we ask
So-
them to send us emails?
Well,
Or to send them to Mike?
if the chairperson is the only person who has a problem, we want to ask him to go get his problem solved.
Well,
Gee, thanks, Hank. I think I will. I think I will. And it's going to start with a bottle.
Yeah, I mean, I apologize. My politeness is worn off.
I think we all have, yes. I
Okay.
think we're a little
In
tired.
1984, yeah, Hank.
All right, so this really falls under future draft agenda. So on Monday, we're going to meet and discuss again. We don't have them currently on the agenda.
they are requesting to be on the agenda. The school
Yeah.
committee and superintendent are requesting to be on the agenda.
Well, the agenda for Monday's meeting is already posted. The agenda for Monday's meeting is already posted.
And
They
and
are
does-
not on the agenda.
But the
However-
articles are.
And-
I will reach out to Amber tomorrow and let her know the information that I'm looking for. Is that okay?
Yeah,
So, let's see, just trying to find out. So,
Just to follow up on Paul's point, because the agenda says final ATM warrant, continue discussion and vote on articles as appropriate, I believe that any discussion and anyone you want to talk to about the articles is allowed under that agenda. It's sufficient. That's why when I was chair of the finance committee, I always made it that vague, because it essentially lets you do any discussion with whomever you want for anything that's on the warrant.
Okay. So what I'm willing to do is we could allow them to come in the beginning of the meeting and have a discussion around those articles, and then we will resume our discussion and vote, so we can get any questions answered on articles. Does that make sense?
I like it. I'd like to have them come.
Just we'll have to limit the time to some amount that we can, we have a lot to go through, but yes.
Yeah. Walter, if we could arrange it so that we ask them to address specific questions as opposed to giving us a general and overall presentation. If we have specific questions, let's tell them what they are, ask them to address those questions, and then go, and then we'll be done.
Okay, so Mike, can you reach out with the general topics of your questions? I don't think we want to see another presentation. We've certainly seen presentations.
No.
I think you just had some concerns on a couple things.
I did, and I can do that as I suggested, and I will do that. Amber will hear from me within the next 24 to 48 hours.
Okay, and I can send out the invites to them as appropriate for the thing. Beth, if you could send me the list of people they wanted invited,
Okay,
that
sure.
would help me by email. And because I haven't even made that, I have to make the Zoom meeting first, and then I'll be sending it out to everybody over the weekend anyway.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, we have two more main meetings, Monday and Thursday next week. Monday is all remote. Thursday will be hybrid again, right, Mike?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't know that there's anything else. My intention is to clean my voting list up a little bit and scan it and send it to everybody on the committee, so you all have a record of how I think we voted. And Paul usually has a record too, so we can consolidate those.
Before we adjourn,
Yes, go ahead.
could I make a comment and an observation?
Sure.
There was a while there, and here I'm sitting at a distance and listening to all of us, including myself. We were a little all over the place tonight. We were unsure about policies. We were unsure about motions. I think we need to spend the next 3 days in reflecting on what we want to do, on the articles where we have, particularly the articles we have ARPA connections with. And if we're going to come back to them next Monday, hopefully our thinking will be a little more clear and we'll be able to take them on appropriately. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, so Mike, I guess we need a thought on, I don't know if you want me to call Christie or you want to call Christie, but how are we going to determine what we
asked,
do with ARPA articles? Is it really going to be, say, a borrow / free transfer, or is it just a borrow? Or
I almost want to ask Christie to just have the lawyer weigh in and give us the right wording.
Since we won't have any answers about ARPA at the meeting, we have to choose to either recommend that they be approved or that they be turned down. And to recommend that the funding source.
Hank, I would like to ask Christie to ask the lawyer what the appropriate wording is for these articles.
You're welcome to do that. I have faith that the wording that is currently in the warrant articles is the wording that is approved by the attorney, and that will be in the warrant, because the warrant's not going to change.
I'm not
The only
saying
thing that's
no,
gonna
there-
change is
warrant.
motions.
I want to know about the motion.
Yeah. So you should ask if there's any
That's a
chance you
different
guys can
question.
get a copy of the draft motions in time for Monday or Thursday's meeting. That's probably the
Yes.
most effective
So
thing.
Mike, I'll try and contact her. 'Cause you're
Thank
away.
you, Walter. Thank you. Thank you.
And talk to her about the motion and talk about the issue, and she can probably explain some sense to me, and I can report that back on Monday.
Okay.
And that still
Thank you.
leaves us Thursday if we need it. Okay. How about a long overdue motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, we have to take a vote.
Lumber, yes.
Beth?
Board, yes.
Bradley, yes?
Dolan, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Already, yes.
All right, that was 9:00.
Thank you, Walter. Thanks
You're
a lot,
welcome.
Walter.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Thank you. Great meeting.
Right.
Aye.
Very efficient.
Good night, all.